Since the first Stupid Loadouts video did quite well, I've decided to finally make a part 2 because I just can't get enough of milking videos I've already made, and because people won't stop talking about double perks in the comments of the first video. Oh yeah, also this video is going to be about double perks, one of the most fun and overpowered game passes in Super Bomb Survival. Also, if you see two guys that look something along the lines of this, don't tell them I'm making this video, alright? Now let's get into it. If you feel like the default movement isn't enough but don't want any fancy new moves, this is probably the loadout for you. It's kind of basic, but still pretty fun. It's basically guaranteed to fulfill 80% of your movement needs and will help you out in a ton of rounds where the satanic evil RNG is out to ruin not just your day but your whole life. And of course, like every movement enhancing loadout, be careful not to have too much fun and jump directly into a meteor or an airstrike. You may notice during gameplay that while using this loadout, your boost in vertical mobility is more significant and noticeable than your boost in horizontal mobility. So if you're looking for more horizontal mobility, then this next loadout is probably for you. There's no such thing as too fast, and this loadout is proof of that. If you've ever wanted to move at the speed of light, you still can't, but you're a whole lot closer now. In the clip in the background, I decided to play with the absolute maximum sensitivity plus maximum DPI that my mouse allows so that I can truly feel the pure speed of this loadout. This is probably one of the fastest perk combos in the entire game, if not the fastest. But there's a bit of a catch. This loadout is pretty expensive, costing about 80,000 coins for both of the perks, so you'll need to have quite a lot of coins lying around if you don't already have both of these perks. Of course, it's well worth it for the ability to zoom around the map at incredible speeds. Air Dash also speeds up all of the other wing perks as well, so I'd say it's one of my favorites to use with the other wings. Overall, if you're craving speed, you can't really go wrong with this loadout. But maybe you're not that cool and prefer vertical mobility instead. Well, loadout number 3 is probably right up your alley. Yet another loadout based around having far more vertical mobility than any human should ever have, which is quite common in this series for some reason. So if you just so happen to be a fan of jumping high, this loadout is made for you because you get to jump high twice. Insane, I know. But be careful not to jump into any birds or airplanes when using this. I wouldn't recommend this loadout to those who have a fear of heights or don't really like jumping into the moon. Now this loadout is a bit pricey at 19,000 coins, but it's extremely effective, and like all of these loadouts, makes this game kind of a breeze. But what if you're lame and don't like extra mobility, also known as extra fun, all too much? Well, the next loadout will fix that problem for you. If you've ever wanted to be able to be an absolute moron and still survive a round, or if you don't already have Indomitable for some reason, then this loadout is probably for you. It's not particularly creative in any way, but it does its job pretty well. You can be as much of a dumbass as you want, you'll probably still have a decent amount of health left over. Of course, since tank is included in this loadout, you're gonna be a lot slower than usual, although they did buff it so that it isn't as awful as it was before. This isn't really as much of a fun loadout as the other ones, but it's more so just kind of here to be silly. But that's the point of a series, is it not? This loadout is quite cheap, costing only about 3,000 credits, so if you're broke in Super Bomb Survival but have Roblox lying around to buy double perks, this loadout is probably gonna be the easiest for you to obtain. This is the first loadout of this video to not give you any extra movement whatsoever. It's also the last one to not give you any movement, so let's get on to the final loadout of this video. Now some of you may remember that I made a video comparing air dash and double jump strengths and weaknesses, but I didn't bring up this loadout because the video wasn't about double perks. This loadout allows you to air dash at mid-air twice instead of once, a bit of a recurring theme in this video for some reason. Now this loadout may be a little bit less on the goofy side and more on the viable side, but it's still goofy enough to make it into this video. And also because I wanted to be in here. This loadout is also extremely busted, allowing you to zoom across the map in very little time, perhaps even competing with Loadout 2. You can easily go very far distances with this loadout. In fact, you can even do the air dash ragdoll technique trademark twice in midair for maximum horizontal mobility. I've dubbed this the double dash ragdoll technique trademark. Now this loadout is also a bit pricey at 45,000 credits for both perks, but it's well worth it for how much mobility you get with it. Now this is where I'd go into the outro and leave my final comments and stuff, but I have a top secret 6th loadout for you all. Now, I want you all to know that I can get in serious trouble for sharing the Super Bomb Survival loadout, and the upper 5 too, but this one especially. It's so powerful that it can ruin the entire game and cause irreversible damage if left unchecked. Say hello to Loadout 6, the most overpowered loadout in Super Bomb game history. It allows you to be absolutely fucking useless and dumb and die and do nothing. In fact, I must say, I'm genuinely surprised this otherworldly loadout slipped past the cracks. Polyhex really needs to do better. But now that I've exposed this loadout to you all, I need to go into hiding. I could already hear the R80 knocking on my door.